Good morning, and here we go. It's Monday again, and this is Christmas week. Christmas will be on Friday. We're building up towards that time. What a perfect time to be going through the book of Luke and looking at how it all began. Well, not the book of Genesis, but the book of Luke. How it all began. We've already seen how it all began in the life of John the Baptist as we met his mom and dad, Zechariah and Elizabeth. Now we're going to go a little bit further in the story. We're going to pick it up in Luke chapter 1, verses 26 and 27. This week we're going to be looking at another couple, and we're going to be looking at another birth. I wonder which one that might be. So we are looking at the birth challenge, or the birth. Well, definitely birth is a challenge, but we're looking at a faith challenge. A faith challenge. We're going to see our faith challenge. This is just one of those immutable things that is as a result of God's grace touching the earth, God's eyes being upon the earth, and Him inviting us into relationship with Himself. He is constantly looking for those that are placing their faith, reaching out to Him in faith. Hebrews chapter 11, verse number 6 talks about, without faith, it is impossible to please God. Jesus asked the question, when the Son of Man comes, will He find faith on the earth? The critical thing here is that we engage the grace of God by faith. By faith. I think there's an interesting take found on that. 3 weeks ago, we had our first Christmas, not our first Christmas message ever, but the first message for Christmas in a 3-part series. 3 gifts I bring: gold, frankincense, and myrrh. The first one was gold. We covered that the first Sunday in December, so you might go back and look at that. And in there, I see that connection, discover that connection of faith in the midst of that giving of that gift of gold. There's actually gold in you, and you may not be very aware of it. And I'm hopeful that I was able somehow through that message to make some people aware of the investing that they can do in the kingdom of heaven. Well, enough of that. Let's go on. Luke chapter 1, verse number 26 and 27. Very short today. Maybe I can keep it short in the light of the Christmas week and its busyness. In the 6th month of Elizabeth's pregnancy. In the 6th month of Elizabeth's pregnancy. That's going to help us make some connections to some chronology, to some calendars here. God sent the angel Gabriel. Now, didn't we just meet Gabriel in the story of Zechariah and Elizabeth? So there was about a 6-month time, or a little bit longer, maybe 7 months, between the appearance of Gabriel in the holy place of the temple and this appearance. God sent the angel Gabriel to Nazareth, a town in Galilee, to a virgin pledged to be married to a man named Joseph, a descendant of David. The virgin's name was Mary. So now we're going to meet Mary. We're going to take the next step in the story, and we can see that there's already a setup here. It's 6 months after Elizabeth's pregnancy. It's in the 6th month she's become pregnant. She's 6 months in, and we know that she was in seclusion for 5 months. We know that Zechariah was on duty the month before that, because it says he went home, and basically he and Elizabeth tried to have a baby and were successful by the grace of God. So in the 6 months of Elizabeth's pregnancy, God sent the angel Gabriel to Nazareth, Nazareth was on the northwest, go to the north side of the lake of Galilee and then go due west towards the coast, in through a pass and up through some hills and some rough terrain and some undulating hills, and you get to the town of Nazareth. It was a town in Galilee to a virgin pledged to be married to a man. First appearance of Gabriel was in the temple in Jerusalem. The second one in Galilee of the Gentiles, to the west side of the northern edge of the lake, or the Sea of Galilee, as it's called. Pledged to be married to a man named Joseph, a descendant of David. A descendant of David. I believe Luke shows us his lineage. Matthew shows Mary's, or vice versa. But those two different lineages, some people think are contradictions. They're not. One is the lineage of Joseph, the other is the lineage of Mary. And interestingly enough, they both are from the household of David, the son of Jesse, the one who was the king of Israel, the second king of Israel, out of the tribe of Judah. And the virgin's name was Mary. So the stage is set. Everything is ready for the next part of this birth narrative, and for us to connect into the idea of faith. After all, it's called a faith challenge. So here's what I want to leave you with today. If things look like a setup, they probably are. It's a faith challenge. When you see things just seem to interestingly align, be alert, realize something. This is a faith challenge. That means God's hand is in it. God's provision is in it. He's looking for a response. Sometimes we refer to this as a test, and this is really maybe better referred to as the challenge that's necessary to connect with the flow of grace, or to walk into the revelation that God has for you. So we can see the setup, the stage is being set. When we see that happening in our life, recognize something, realize something. God is at work. The Holy Spirit is at work. There are angels dispatched. Things are happening. This looks a bit like a setup. Well, it is. It's an opportunity called a faith challenge. So as you think about that today, the Lord bless you. May His grace and His peace be upon you. I'm looking forward to seeing you tomorrow.